So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the out one of you Uncle Tom ass niggas for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first?
None,
your
sir.
career down the road. People
None.
might not want to book you in Texas or Arizona or California.
Sir. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Let's let that.
Snoop Dogg just got hit with a warning, and not from cops or rival rappers, but from Katt Williams himself. Yeah, Katt Williams, the man who never sugarcoats a thing, no matter who's in the room.
Just want to say this real quick, not on the political shit. All you people for the federal government that not getting paid right now, ain't no fucking way in the world y'all can vote for Donald Trump when he come back up again. If y'all do vote for him, y'all some stupid motherfuckers.
This time, he's got smoke for none other than Uncle Snoop, accusing him of getting too political. In Katt's own words, Snoop's not a gangsta dog anymore. He's a political dog. Katt didn't say it to stir drama, but when he speaks, it's because he's got something real to get off his chest. He even warned that if Snoop keeps moving like this, folks might start switching up on him, saying, your career down the road, people might not want to book you in Texas, Arizona, or even Cali. That's not a threat, that's a wake-up call. When Katt drops a message, it's never for clout, it's a shot of truth. And this time, he's claiming Snoop's walking a dangerous line, one where loyalty, power, and truth don't always mix cleanly. Katt's been lighting up the industry lately, tearing the mask off Hollywood's hypocrisy, calling out everybody from Steve Harvey to Cedric to D.L. Hewley, but calling out Snoop, that hit different. Because Snoop ain't just another name, he's an icon. The man went from Death Row Records to daytime TV, from the block to the White House.
Inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States of America, Snoop Dogg performed at the Crypto Ball. Now, Snoop Dogg, he got the backlash because people are like, wait, this isn't the same Snoop from 2016 who had so much to say about the artist performance.
But according to Katt, somewhere along the journey, Snoop lost that raw realness. His message was sharp and simple. Snoop Dogg ain't the same Snoop no more. In Katt's eyes, Snoop traded being the people's voice for the approval of the powerful. Katt Williams didn't hold back. He straight up said Snoop turned into what he calls a political dog. A man who still barks loud, but only when the system gives him permission to. And honestly, if you've been watching Snoop lately, you can kind of see what Katt means. This ain't the same Snoop from Murder Was the Case. This ain't the Snoop who rode with Pac, went toe-to-toe with Death Row, and stood tall through chaos. Nah, this is the new Snoop, the one chilling with Martha Stewart, smiling in insurance ads, and pitching pet food on TV, the one clinking glasses with CEOs and cozying up to politicians. Katt looked at that and said, that's not the same dog we grew up with. Now don't get it twisted. Katt still gives Snoop his flowers. He said it loud. Snoop opened doors. He made gangster culture go global. He turned the grind into glory. But in Katt's eyes, somewhere along the road, Snoop forgot why people loved him in the first place. He lost that spark, that raw authenticity, that voice of the streets that used to speak for the people, not at them. And when Katt says political dog, he ain't talking about Democrats or Republicans. He's talking about the soul game, the politics of fame, where people trade truth for comfort and passion for power. Katt believes Snoop's gotten too close to the same kind of folks he once warned us about.
Yeah. Get your life right. Stop worrying about mine. I'm cool. I'm together. Still a black man. Still 100% black.
In a world where real truth tellers keep getting silenced, Katt's not staying quiet. Not for anybody. So how did we get here? Let's rewind the tape. Back in the early 2000s, Snoop was untouchable. A survivor of the death row era, a boss with his own lane, a mentor to the next wave. Everyone from Jay-Z to Ice Cube respected him. He was hip-hop's favorite uncle. But then, things started to shift, and the change didn't go unnoticed. Then things started getting real strange. Snoop began popping up at political events, smiling next to big names, making statements defending certain celebrities while staying completely silent on others. He started endorsing politicians, fancy brands, and causes that fans said just didn't fit the Snoop they knew. And for Katt Williams, that was a giant red flag. Katt's always said it clear as day. When they can't control you, they cancel you. And when they can't cancel you, they recruit you. And according to Katt, that's exactly what happened. Snoop got recruited. Katt really started side-eyeing things when he noticed how quiet Snoop stayed during major moments in hip-hop. When artists were getting blackballed, Snoop stayed neutral. When real ones were exposing Hollywood's dark side, Snoop played peacemaker. When people spoke on exploitation and shady deals, silence again. But when it was time to show love to Hollywood, Snoop was smiling front and center on the red carpet. To Katt, that looked like a man protecting his position, not his people. So when Katt dropped that bomb saying, "I'm sending Snoop his last warning, stop being a political dog," it wasn't some petty jab. It was a public wake-up call aimed at someone he once looked up to. See, in Katt's world, there's two types of dogs, the street dog and the political dog.
Of course, Snoop has responded to the backlash he received for performing for a Trump event. One of the things he pointed out was that we always stick together. We're good at tearing each other apart, which is pretty constant. It's pretty consistent when somebody gets into trouble. It takes backlash from the community. It's always a communal thing. It isn't any action they took. It is the fact that we can't stay together, that we can't stick together, that it's us always attacking us. But that flies in the face of the reality of what's happening right now. It is not us who are tearing down affirmative action. It is not us who is tearing down DEI. It is not us who are tearing families apart. It is not us who have decided that affirmative action and rollbacks that have been that had precedent for 50, 60 years are gone. It is not us that is doing it. It is, I think most people are disappointed because they saw you a specific way, and you have a right to kind of interpret and do whatever artistically you want to. No one's begrudging you that. But why the attack on the community because they disagree with something you did?
The street dog is loyal, hungry, and fearless. Wild but real. The political dog, he's polished, trained, and knows exactly who to please to keep his spot safe. Katt swears Snoop used to be that first kind, the rebel with bite. But now, he's looking more like the second, a man trained to protect the system instead of the streets. And honestly, you can't even lie. That's a heavy accusation. And honestly, it's not hard to see why some folks think Katt might have a point. Snoop's on TV more than he's in the studio these days. He's doing cooking shows instead of community shows, selling brands instead of delivering messages. Now, there's nothing wrong with growth. Everybody evolves. But Katt's asking a real question. What kind of growth are we talking about? Did Snoop grow as a man or just as a brand? See, Katt Williams has never been about chasing fame. He doesn't bow to Hollywood's machine, he fights it. He's been arrested, blackballed, banned, even clowned in the media, but he never shut up. That's why people believe him, because he doesn't owe Hollywood a thing. He's not scared to lose a check or a friend. He's only scared of a world where folks stop telling the truth. So when a man like Katt calls Snoop out, everybody listens. Because Katt doesn't throw shade for clicks, he speaks from scars. But here's where it gets deeper. There's real history between them. Katt and Snoop both came up out of the West Coast grind, just in different lanes, one through comedy, the other through rap, both respected by the streets. Snoop used to show Katt love publicly too. They did radio spots together, shared stages, even chopped it up on interviews back in the early 2000s.
No, on some real though, it's about time somebody said some gangster shit up in here. Hey yo, Katt Williams, when did they start selling pimp clothes at Baby Gap? My nigga over there drinking that Hennessy out of that little sippy cup.
But somewhere along the line, that energy flipped. Katt started seeing Snoop stand next to the same Hollywood names he was calling out. The ones Katt said were faking it for fame. While Katt was out here naming Steve Harvey, D.L. Hewley, and Cedric the Entertainer, Snoop, he stayed silent. Worse, he was smiling in pictures with them, looking cool like nothing was wrong. To Katt, that wasn't just disappointing, it felt like betrayal. That's when Katt drew his line in the sand. He said, "You can't be for the people and still shake hands with the puppeteers." And everybody knew exactly who that message was aimed at, Snoop Dogg. And let's keep it real. This ain't the first time folks have said Snoop switched up. Back in the death row era, he was ride or die for the streets, repping the West like no one else. But after Tupac's death, he stepped away from Suge Knight and started building new alliances. Then came the No Limit days, then the big corporate wave, and finally Hollywood. He's reinvented himself more times than any rapper alive, and that's exactly why he's still around. But that same survival instinct, it's also why some people stop trusting his motives. Katt's not coming for Snoop's money or his fame. He's calling out his soul. He's saying, you used to lead the people, now you follow the power. That's not hate. That's disappointment from someone who remembers the old Snoop.
Are going to be at this thing. And I think it really does beg the question whether the culture is starting to thaw to Donald Trump. I mean,
the one who spoke truth with no filter. Now, Snoop hasn't clapped back at Katt, at least not yet, but the internet definitely has. And it's split right down the middle. One side's calling Katt jealous, bitter, and stuck in the past, saying Snoop's just doing what any smart businessman would do: evolve, grow, and get paid. But the other side, they're riding with Katt. They're saying he's the only one bold enough to speak what everyone's been whispering, that Snoop's been playing both sides for years, talking about loyalty and keeping it real while cozying up to the highest bidder. And truth be told, both sides might have a point, because this isn't just a beef. It's a bigger question about what happens when authenticity runs headfirst into fame. Snoop represents survival, but Katt, he represents truth. And sometimes those two things don't walk the same path. Snoop represents survival, the man who made it out the mud and still found a way to stay relevant for decades. Katt, on the other hand, stands for rebellion, the man who refuses to bow down, even if it costs him everything. It's two completely different philosophies crashing into each other. Play the game or expose it. And right now, Katt's saying Snoop's gone too deep into the game to ever come out clean again. But the real question is, what exactly is Katt warning him about? When he said last warning, it didn't sound like a punchline, it sounded like a prediction. Some fans believe Katt's warning Snoop about karma, about what happens when you trade your purpose for politics. Others think he's warning him about the danger of playing both sides, because sooner or later, both sides turn on you. And a few think it's even deeper, that Katt's just tired of watching the same legends he grew up respecting turn into polished puppets for power. Katt once said, the moment you stop talking for the people stop talking for you. And that's exactly the message he's sending Snoop right now. No matter how rich, how famous, or how iconic you become, if the streets don't feel your heart anymore, you've already lost. And maybe that's what makes this last warning feel so personal, because Katt's not just talking to Snoop, he's talking to every entertainer who forgot where they came from. He's saying loud and clear, don't let them turn you into something you're not. Because once you lose your voice, your soul, and your truth, the industry doesn't need you anymore. That's the real message buried underneath all the smoke and fire. Snoop's career shows just how complicated fame really is. He's been everything: gangster, icon, businessman, peacemaker, comedian, actor, mogul. But the higher you rise, the easier it is to forget who you were before the lights hit. And nobody can deny it. Snoop's earned every bit of what he's got. The hits, the fame, the legacy, it's all well-deserved. But with every new move he makes, one question keeps getting louder. Has Snoop gotten too comfortable, too polished, too political? Because let's be real, the same Snoop Dogg who once said F the system is now sitting right beside the system on national TV, laughing with the very people he used to call out. And that's exactly what Katt can't respect. Still, you can't erase what Snoop's done for the culture. He helped build West Coast hip-hop from the ground up. He mentored artists, created opportunities, gave back to his hood, and somehow managed to age gracefully in an industry that eats its own. No scandals destroyed him, no meltdowns derailed him. And that's rare. But maybe that's also the problem. In a world built on chaos and controversy, calm can look suspicious. And Katt, he is chaos personified. Raw, unpredictable, unfiltered energy. So when he looks at Snoop's calmness, he doesn't see peace. He sees compliance. And this right here, it might not be the end of the story. Katt's never been one to whisper warnings. When he says last warning, he means it. If Snoop even breathes a response, Katt will come back swinging 10 times harder. No hesitation, because to Katt, this isn't just talk. It's a war between truth and tolerance, between the rebel and the ruler, between two legends who took totally different roads but ended up under the same spotlight. That's what makes it all so fascinating. Katt embodies the voice of the people, raw, fearless, and untamed. Snoop represents the dream, the man who made it out and built an empire. Both started real, both changed the game forever, but only one refuses to play it.